if you already have been in photo retouching area or maybe just image processing area, I'm sure you heard about Capture One. This is extremely powerful software and it presents you the images exactly the way you see them in your camera. For many people, it's better software than Camera or Lightroom because they are Adobe products. This is not Adobe product, and people are usually fascinated by the colors that Capture One produce. And I also got hooked up by this. I really love working with Capture One, so I want to present you raw processing in Capture One, just in case you are using Capture One as well, just in case you don't want to use Photoshop, you don't want to use Camera. If you don't use Capture One, you can skip this lesson if you're not interested at all. But also I would recommend you to try a trial version for 30 days using Capture One. Maybe you will like it. It's really nice to compare these two softwares. So I will work with the same image, and the thing I want to show you how Capture One sees the colors. So this is the image that wasn't processed, and let me open the image we're working with, and you clearly can see the difference. Adobe products tend to present the image slightly desaturated, so these things, I desaturate them a little bit in the raw processing in camera to make the colors a little bit stronger. And Capture One naturally have different colors, so the raw processing, I feel it's a little different and a little easier in Capture One. But let's jump to the steps that I'm doing, and I'm starting with this exposure panel over here, simply starting with high dynamic range. So it's the same as in camera. I want to work with highlights. The highlights are a little strong, so I'm going to get them down a little bit, but just dragging it up. So like you can see small difference. So I'm dragging this up, and the same about the shadows, I'm just brightening this up. So I'm just flattening the image to make it easier for the retouching. What also sometimes I happen to do is working with the brightness, just if I think the image is too bright, I could get it down, maybe exposure a little bit, because I feel that few areas is overexposed. So this panel also, it's quite useful for working with this. We can also take down a little bit of the contrast just for the preparation for editing. So simple steps, and actually quite similar to the one we were taking in basic panel in camera. The other powerful thing that Capture One offers is this local adjustment panel. I love to work and open color editor. Color editor can be also found over here with the colors. So you can go to color editor, and I usually start working with advanced. How I do? I usually choose the colors that are different. So in this case, color for the background, and in case I want to just work a little bit with the color, change the hue, the separate color, that will be extremely powerful because we will work exactly with the color that we have chosen. So before, after, as you can see, it affected the face a little bit in the way I didn't really like. But if you have specific color, let's say as this image, and I'm going to choose the reds, you can see that changing the hues never been so easy. And the same working with the saturation of specific color. So if you have specific colors, that will be extremely powerful for you. The feature that I especially like is the skin tone. I love working with the skin tone basically because it will recognize the skin tones. So it doesn't affect the other colors that much as it will affect the skin. And if I'm not happy with the hue, if I feel like once again the image is too yellowish, I can just change the hue a little. So like nothing more simple. If I feel the skin should be a little bit more saturated, I just can bring up some of the saturation for the skin tones. And there's also option like uniformity, which I don't really like, because for example, if you want to uniform the hues, just flatten the colors of the image, as you can see. So it's not really useful for the retouching, because you don't want to flatten the lips and the skin tones. The same about the saturation. As you can see, just flatten the saturation values or hue values, whatever you're going to choose. So my process in Capture One is very simple. Sometimes when you have good image, you just can process this in Capture One without changing anything if you want to have natural look, and that would be it. The other thing that I really like to work is the color balance, because I can nicely work with the color that is desired for the highlights and shadows. So for the highlights, I would usually go with warm color with such an outdoor image, as you can see. I go a little bit stronger to make it visible. And for the shadows, in this case, I would just go with something cold, because this green background wasn't really looking that nice. So I want to get something this way, but I don't want to affect this too strongly, because I don't want to change the hair that much. So just really a little touch of this, and that would be something I'm a little bit more happy than the thing I started with. Worth to mention is this local adjustment. We're doing this over here, as you can see, but local adjustments offers you creation of new layers. So something as we created the smart object and then duplicate smart object, you can do this within Capture One by creating new layer, hitting this plus, and I'm just going to call this 1. And what you can do, you can mask this. So you can choose the brush, and let's say I want to change the background. So I would mask this part of the background. I would usually go with all background, but I just want to present you. I'm not going to change it myself, but I want to show you how does it work. And I'm opening color editor, and as you can see, there is no layer because it's separate layer. Choosing the color, and as you can see, if I'm going to work with this, I'm changing the values of this part, not this part where it was masked. I believe you can see this. So that's why Capture One is so powerful. First of all, in letting you have full control of the colors and full control of the layers. You can create the layers. Usually I don't work much with local adjustments, if I have to be honest. If you have some specific color, some specific area you want to work with, that would be good. After this, I'm going into the output and I'm ready to process. Let me find the area that I want to set. So we have destination. I'm choosing destination. I'm choosing the folder where as my images, course creation, and that would be here. So I'm setting as an output folder is DM. Format, I keep image name usually because I know later if I share with other people which image exactly was this. I don't like to change the name. And it's important probably to which format you would like to put this. So I'm choosing the format TIFF. You can also choose PSD for Photoshop. I believe TIFF is a little better. So it would be 16-bit. So it's uncompressed, big file, so still it has more information than just JPEG, which is 8-bit. And everything is fine here. Maximum 100% quality, resolution 300 pixels per inch. When everything is ready here, I choose the location, I choose the maximum, the biggest format, TIFF 16-bit, I can process, and then I will have TIFF file image that I can open later in Photoshop and work with. The only one problem, it's not synchronized with Photoshop, so you cannot open as a smart object in Photoshop, for example, but you have to save this as a separate file and then work in Photoshop. So we are ready to start.